What's going on, fellas? What's going on? What's going on? Looking at the Nasdaq here. Going to be trading a little bit of futures. The market's kind of been slowly grinding higher. We did have a little bit of a pullback off the open. As soon as we get some more people in here, I'll kind of go over that technical analysis on the thought process. I am sitting long. I am sitting long off this floor. Got to stop underneath this consolidation here. So we're just going to kind of see exactly, how far this wants to push higher. Do we actually come up here and test the 972s? We can kind of see what's going on with that. So we'll see if the Nasdaq wants to push the highs here a little bit. Good little pullback that we had off the 7.2s down into this 50 EMA, and as well as, we got a Bollinger Band, a 50 EMA down there. As you guys start to trickle in here, let me know how you guys are doing. See what we got here, make a little bit of money, right? That's always the goal, make a little bit of cash. Again, this move could be a little bit exhausted. Nasdaq's up, 1.5%, up 214. Playing a little conservative, don't really, need to push it. I had a good options trade this morning, so kind of just fucking around here, to be honest, on the futures. We'll talk offline, but we maybe want to recruit you because I think it's fun teams. And since you're Tri-City, it's called Tri-City Local. So we'll see what we got here. I'd like to see it actually. I mean, I'd love to see the Nasdaq put in just one more high today. See if we can get a little bit of Momo off of that. Again, my stops down here underneath these low wicks. Again, not right to the penny. It got me somewhere down here in the 15, 16s, below this 20 spot here. I'd just like to see a new high. We do have this Bollinger Band going to act as a little bit of resistance. So we'll kind of see what the word is here. Again, trading just a couple of micros here, nothing too crazy. Let me know how you guys are doing out there. What did you guys trade today? Again, we're getting a couple more people kind of trickling in here. So again, my bias on the day was definitely a little bit more long-sided than going to the short, just due to the fact that of the good close that we had yesterday, right? So we had like a nice close yesterday. Again, even though we're still, not out of the woods yet, the bulls came out surging yesterday after that, Jerome Powell conference. The only thing that a lot of newer traders got stuck on this morning is a lot of people went long right out of the gates, right? So if you notice the first, 5-10 minutes, we kind of shot up higher into those pre-market session highs and then wicked above and then immediately pulled back. Now, I know personally a lot of traders got trapped in this move going along. The rule of thumb here, guys, and again, this just comes with experience. You guys will know, like, over time, the rule of thumb definitely is when you're below supply, right, and you're coming off of the bottom, we're on this little bit of a dead cat bounce. The rule of thumb is you do not buy gap ups. What you're doing is you're waiting for the pullback, you're waiting for the washout, you're waiting for a bounce off of hourly support, and then you're looking to go long, either through the opening range highs, which is the 1 hour candle, or you're looking for, some kind of bounce play off of support. That's normally what you're looking for. It's the same thing if the market was short, right? Let's say, we have been pushing lower. What you want to do is, if you have a big gap down and it kind of gaps into demand, the last thing you want to do is be going short right off the bell. You want to wait for a little bit of a bounce, and then you want to get it rejected, so forth and so forth. So just kind of keep that in mind going forward. But definitely the momentum, the Momo was bullish today. So, definitely was looking for more of the long plays today. I took a couple of scalps short in that first 30 minutes, and then I flipped to the long side once I seen us hit like some good areas of demand. We're trading the Top Step account today. Just logged into this one. I got 2 micros on the board right now. You guys should be able to see my buy sells somewhere at the bottom of this stream. Trying to get it set up so you guys can see the P&Ls and the order entries as well, but I don't really know what I'm looking for, right? I mean, like, and the reason why I say that is, I mean, the fucking Nasdaq's up 217 points, so, you know, 1.5%. How much more room does this thing have? Who knows, right? Who knows? But I'd like to see a little bit of a test here at the 972s. See if we can kind of test those days highs. If I look at the hourly chart's on full breakout mode. Notice how we're just kind of flagging up here to the top side. Last hour we pulled back. This hour we're kind of moving back higher. So if we can start to push over the 72s, we might have that one last exhaustion leg to the upside, right? Kind of run these stops on everyone who was shorting in the last hour, run these guys out, start trapping these guys on the way up, and then see if we can get that new high put in, right? On the daily chart, right? On the daily chart, because everything starts with the daily, guys. Even though you guys are day trading, it starts on the daily chart. So the daily chart has confirmed yesterday's highs. It confirmed the channel. We've reclaimed the 20-day moving average bullish. We're back over the 5 and 10-day moving average bullish. We've got room to push into the 50-day moving average. So that 50-day moving average is sitting at around 15,000. 15,000 to like 1550. That's the area I would like to see us push into. Again, does it mean that, you know, the selling pressure is over? We're going to go higher? I don't know, right? Your guess is as good as mine. But all we have to do is just kind of play these levels here, play these levels. Again, guys, for some of you guys who are listening, I have a stream playing in the background that I'm listening to. If that's bothering, or you guys can actually hear it, drop it in chat. I'll just turn those motherfuckers off. But you know, sometimes it gets a little boring. So I throw shit on in the background sometimes. All right, cool. Yeah. I don't know if you guys can hear. I try to set my mic so it's only going to really pick up what's in front of me, but who knows? You know, sometimes that shit doesn't work. You know, if the NAS was up like 100, 120 right now, I'd have a lot more confidence to go in with more size for this push. But fuck, man, we're already up a little bit. Because to be honest, I'll go back, like even all my videos, right? If you look at all my videos, dude, I have like over 2,000 videos. Yeah, some of them are education, right? Some of them are education. A lot of them is honestly pure back testing, bro. So it's pure back testing for me. Like when I first started, before I even had any type of community, before I started doing live streams, before I did all this, I opened up a Discord to just use it like as an open source, like a journal, right? Like just a journal. So I don't have to write shit down by hand or use fucking Microsoft Word. And I used to create different channels like, hey, these are stocks that I'm looking at. And then I would have a channel in there like, this is my rules. These are my motivations, blah, 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 blah. And then that just kind of evolved, right? So I would go back in the day and I would recap my own trades, or I would do my watch list and I would make a video because I wanted to see it, right? So like if I got off the fucking off the wires, right? If I got off the grid and I did something stupid, I can go back and listen to what I said. And it was huge for me teaching, right? So teaching myself, and you know, as it just like, I don't have any traction at all as far as on social media. Like I don't really do this to like have, you know, 100,000 fucking people. I could really care less. Like YouTube doesn't pay me like I don't make no money off that shit. I don't really do it for that. Like I pay my bills trading. So this is all just extra. I mean, cause the way I look at it, it's like, so I don't know, maybe you were making videos or you were trying to stream or something at some point in time. Just look at it like this. Look at it like this. You're sitting in front of the fucking computer screen, or you're trading, you're doing whatever anyways, right? There's no difference. So whether there's 5 people in here or whether there's nobody in here at all, or whether there's a fucking 1,000 people in here, it's all the same shit. It's all the same shit. Like I would still be doing the same fucking thing if I didn't have a live stream on. But like everyone knows, you know, trading is boring. This is a boring business, you know, and then you can go on tilt, you can get in your fucking head, you can start doing a lot of shit. So like the more guys you can trade around, the more people you can talk to, the better. Typically you want to be in a room with people who know what the fuck they're doing. You don't want to be trading with people who don't know what the fuck they're doing, because then that can create a lot of problems as well. Yeah, it's just a great way to kind of track your shit, bro. It's a great way to track your shit. You know, most of the time, like, so there's like two different ways to look at it, right? There's two different ways to look at social media. You can use it as a form of like education and like a diary for yourself, or you can go after and try to monetize it, right? Where all you're really trying to do is like market yourself and do this, that, and the other. In order to do that, you got to sell the dream, right? And I'm not really too big on selling the fucking dream. I'm not really too big on selling the dream. Like, I'm not going to sit here and tell someone, hey, you know, you learn this strategy, you're going to fucking make 6 figures this year. You know, the stats are right. Like 95% of people fucking fail. 95% of people fail this business, and that's true, right? That's true, because they don't know what they're doing. They can't handle the emotions. So again, pushing through this 50 EMA here, pushing through the 50 EMA. Grab something real quick. Currently got two micros on the board here, up $85, $86. Probably be looking to just scrape a little bit of profits off in a minute. If I look at the hourly chart here, I'd like to see us break the previous hour's high. If we can break the previous hour's high, I might be able to get a little bit more of a pop here. See if the bulls got any bit of juice left in them, right? Next stop would be like the 15,050 mark. I don't know if it's going to do that today. There's a highly good chance that it doesn't do that today, right? I mean, you have to look at it. You're up 220. Next area of resistance is sitting around 90 points higher, right? Around 90 points higher. So, you know, technically speaking, that would put the NASDAQ up 300 on the day. Can it do that? The NASDAQ can do whatever it wants, right? This thing's an animal in itself, but the odds of it actually pushing up that high are probably slim to none today, at least. After hours session might do it. Pre-market session. You can kind of just see this hourly chart just going sideways. I'm just going to close this position out real quick. Again, what I'm looking at is these days highs here at 972, right? This 972, we kind of came up into that area a little bit, and then we got rejected. And then that's the fucking short position I was looking to get into. But what I was going to say is you can actually use the day's high as a stop now. Say that we do pull back. Again, momentum's bullish here. It doesn't have to pull back, but you can use a clear stop loss here. You can use a clear stop loss above the high of day and then just kind of sit in it, right? Which I'm real fucking tempted to get into, but just due to the fact that the stop loss is so clear. It's so clear, right? Meaning that we got this area of resistance right here. Clearly tried to test it again. You know, buyers are losing a little bit of steam, but if we do break through, that would be your next area. Typically volatility is going to kick in every hour because that's a new channel, right? So I'm big on hourly candles. Like when I trade options, I'm always looking at hourly candles. I want to see how much room to potentially do we have up or down. And you have to think about it. Buyers who were long this last hour, they need to take their profits, right? They have to take their profits. So they're going to take some profits off the table. Then we pull back into support, load up again. And if the move's going to go, then it's going to go through the 972s the second time. And then that's when you're going to get your next move. We also got New York lunch hour coming back from lunch as well. So we should get a little bit more action here. Fuck, I wish I would have took this short position sooner.
Order filled.
So far right now, any pullback has been getting bought off of support. So even from the first pullback on the day, we pulled back in here into this 100 EMA. We kind of bounced up, put in that high. We've pulled back into the 20 SMA multiple times, kind of held that position, pulled into this 50 SMA. And this has been trying to hold as this mini support here that we've had, you know, going back about an hour and a half. Now we pulled back into the 20 SMA again. So again, you know, these are, you got to think about it like this. They're all like little mini trap spots, right? Little mini trap spots. Anyone who is long, right? Anyone who's long off this breakout that we had, you know, 30 minutes ago is going to feel pain once you pull back and you start to lose some of these supports. And then as soon as it comes down and tests these supports, it wicks people out, gets those emotional sellers or those emotional buyers out of their positions, and then comes right back in. So it's basically like stealing the liquidity, right? Get you guys to sell, takes that liquidity, and then runs it back higher. Momentum's definitely to the high side. It's a little bit more of a riskier trade here. A little bit more of a riskier trade that I have here on this short position. But again, I got a very clear out. It's 972s. We break a new high of day, I'm just going to get out. Until then, I'm just going to sit in this son of a bitch. And the only reason why I'm going against the day's trend right now, NASDAQ's up 200. That's it, right? So I feel like if it does want to pull back, it does have room to kind of pull back. Doesn't mean that we're not going to break and put in a new high of day. Putting in a new high of day here would definitely be an entry for someone to try to scalp that play as well. Depending on what kind of trader you are, being up 200 points, I mean, I would look for something small, maybe 8, 10, 15, 20 points. Not going to look for nothing too crazy. Not going to look for nothing too crazy. NASDAQ will be feeling a little bit of pain if you do start to lose like the 920s. So we're still about 25 points off from that, holding these highs. How's everyone else doing out there today? You guys take any trades, or we done on the day? How we looking? Also, too, on the NASDAQ, you guys got to be sized right to at least see trade at the 20-second chart. Jeez, bro. That's got to be rough, no? Yeah, I would imagine you're getting trade setups like every couple minutes with that. Yeah, that's insane. That also comes down to like your type of personality too as a trader. You know, not a lot of people can sit and do that because, you know, they get too antsy, too nervous, right? They want to get out and get in on any type of little bounce. That can definitely fuck with someone. But again, I mean, hey, like if it works for you as a trader, that's all that really matters, right? You know, just like some people can't trade the hourly chart. They can't trade the 15-minute. It's too long. They get too impatient. They get out of the trade way too early. They sell way too early, right? But it all comes down to what time frame is comfortable for you, your emotions. How long have you been on Sim, and how much have you made? Like, and what's your size? Like, how many contracts are you trading? How much have you made so far on Sim, and how long have you been trading on Sim? For me, I would always tell people, the sooner you guys can go, whether you're going to trade a personal account or a prop firm account, the sooner, yeah, I mean, you have to have a lot of commissions if you're trading that much. The sooner you can get onto live trading, the better. The better. Because the emotions are way different. I've seen people, you know, fucking do amazing trading demo, and then as soon as they go even to a demo prop firm account on an evaluation, they don't know how to trade it because real money is attached to that prop firm. Oh, you're pretty new then. You're pretty fresh. Pretty fresh still. And I've noticed that a lot of Forex guys are coming over to the future side of things. A lot of Forex guys coming over. I think it has to do with a lot of the, I guess you would call them like influencers or the big time Forex guys have all started trading like the NAS, right? NDX, or, you know, the SP 500, the US 30. And that's kind of giving like the impression like to come over to the future side of things, because I don't know. I mean, I've looked at Forex. I've never really traded it, personally. I've never really traded Forex personally, but it moves too slow. For me, at least. And that's the thing. A lot of I don't know. A lot of the fucking Forex guys are great marketers. They're great marketers. So NASDAQ pushing these highs here at the 971s, 970s. That's the area we would need to get over for that new high. Obviously, if we can bust through that new high, we definitely do have some room. Just going back to that hourly view, you can see nothing but open skies. We really got that breakout today, and this candle looks like it's ready to absolutely explode. I just don't know how much room we actually have, just due to the fact that we're up 1.5%. Maybe we can go 2%, closer to 300 on the day. But it definitely looks good long. If we can break through, it definitely looks good long. Four-hour chart looks good too. Yeah, I entered a short position. I was expecting a little bit more of a pullback. So for me on the short position, which is going to kick me out right now, to be honest, but for me I could just show you what I was looking for here. And again, you got to understand where you're at in the chart. So like, I understand going into this trade, I'm going against the trend, right? I'm going against the trend. I bought into support, but I was expecting to take a little bit of a scalp here, right? A little bit of a scalp below the 940s into like the 937s, and then into the like 920s, 30s and 20s. I was looking for that type of back test, which again, when you're going against trend, you're just looking for a little bit of a scalp. And I have a clear out here as soon as we bust through and get a new high. Which again, it also comes down to how much size are you trading, right? I don't have a lot of size on, so one losing trade right here is not gonna be the end of the world for me. Yeah, but if we're talking about like a larger scale type of deal here, yeah, any long position off this recent area here, anything between the 20s and 30s, it's just a sit and hold long. It's been a sit and hold long pretty much all day since the opening flush after the first 30 minutes. So got about 2 minutes left on this 5-minute candle. Moving the new high of day, kind of little price level line here. So 14,97675, that's the new high of day. We broke that high of day. We put in that wick, right? So what you're looking for now on a continuation long, right? If someone took that first break, you have support down at the 60s, you have support down at the 50s. What you're looking for is a little bit of a hold of that area, and then break through the 7.675s again. That would be your second entry to either add to your position and or start a position through that new high of day. Again, be cautious, right? Just like be cautious, because the higher up you get away from the initial fucking move, it's like jumping out of like the 20th story building right now, right? So the higher up you go this late in the day, right after lunch, the bigger the probability that the pullbacks are going to trap you out. So depending on if one person is green or red today, your position size needs to be on point. Last thing I would try to be doing right now is go, heavy size way up here at the top and then have it pull back on you and give away all your gains.
Order filled.
For me, I have clear areas that I'm like kind of looking for. I have clear setups that I'm looking for. But again, because my stops are dynamic, meaning I don't have a set, I'm not risking 10 to make 10. I'm not risking 5 to make, 15. I'm not doing any of that. So I have clear things that need to happen for me to want to get into a trade, but my stop losses are different every time. They're different every time. It's based on, how much potential risk there is on that trade, how much potential room do I have before next supply or demand, so forth and so forth. On this hour chart, we're getting this hour chart breakout here. This could be the next final leg higher here to kind of cap off this day here. So if anyone is long, I would definitely look for taking profits on this next leg higher, and then kind of either sitting back on the day or analyzing your P&L and kind of seeing like, do you need to trade still, right? Do you need to trade? Four-hour chart also looks good long too as well. Good action from the Bulls today, to be honest. I mean, the Bulls needed this. Like, it's always a much better, it's like always a better feeling when things are moving higher, right? A lot of money to be made when the market is going down, but seems like people like when shit's green, right? I'm trying to see if this previous 2-minute candle, I'm on a 2-minute chart, trying to see if the previous 2-minute candle chart is a reversal candle or it's just a little bit of a pause candle. If we start to take out the low of the previous 2-minute, could be pulling back into the 64s. And if we take out the highs, it was just a little bit of a pause candle. So you can kind of gauge your momentum depending on what position you're in there.
Order filled.
So on the 15-minute chart, we have the 15-minute chart, just like looking at it from the day's start. Off the open, we came washed out into the 20 moving average, and then we kind of held that. Once we reclaimed the 20 moving average on the 15-minute chart at 7:15 PST, we had a pivot point over 935. It's essentially been a long position since 935. So we're up about 40 points since then. Give or take up or down depending on the time of day that we were actually in this trade. But what I'm really looking at is that the bulls are holding this uptrend on this 20 SMA. So the 20 SMA on my chart is this purple line. Notice how we washed out into it, put in that little bit of a low, never confirmed, right? If we would have confirmed the lows of around 869, I would say that we were coming down to the 40s at least. That would be your next bounce spot there. Never got there, bounced, put in about a 45 hour move higher, came down in, kind of consolidated during this lunch hour, and then we've pushed off of the 20 SMA again to put in these new highs. So the trend is definitely up, right? Trend is going to be your friend. Again, we're up $230 or 230 handles on the NQ today. We're getting a little bit into that time frame now later on in the day after lunchtime where price action can start to die down. The volume's going to start to die down. You got to think about a lot of people who were long this morning, even carrying from overnight, are definitely kind of cleaning up that position, locking in those profits. So could we see a little bit of a pullback? Could we see a little bit of choppiness action? It's entirely possible. Hourly chart looks strong for a move higher going into tomorrow. But what you would like to see on some of these pushes higher, right? Because this is our second, almost third day where we're kind of coming off the bottom. You want to see pullbacks intraday. You want to see some of these support levels get tested. That way it creates a little bit of a stronger base and foundation. The faster something goes up, the bigger the pullback is when it does happen. So you want to see things move orderly. Again, for us as traders, we want to get into the trade and we want to see everything go in our favor. But it's healthy price action, right? It's healthy price action to see things move in waves, right? That's what you want to see. You want to see things move in waves. Now, our uptrend on the day definitely gets broken if we close below 39s, below 39s, 40s. If we get that to break, then it's got a lot of room down where you can see one of those end of day pullbacks, right? I mean, I know you guys have all seen it in happen before. Market's going one way all day, going one way, and the next thing you know, it's like nasty candle, one direction at the end of the day. I can see that happening if the NASDAQ loses 940s. You're looking at the 15-minute chart right now. We got support at 59. We also have support at 50, as well as those 40s. So those are your three supports. So again, if you believe that the market's going higher, you want to try to bounce it off the 59s, off the 50s, or the 40s. Those are your bounce spots. And it's proven to be true all day, right? All day. That changes, like I said, if we lose the 40s. And depending on what time frame you're playing, that story can be different, right? Because the story on the 5-minute chart is we pulled into the 10 SMA and we've got an aggressive bounce, right? So what time frame are you playing and what are you looking for, right? If you're looking to play the smaller time frames, then your supports are going to be a little bit different. Your supports are going to be a little bit different. And that downtrend that I was mentioning at the 40s on the 15-minute chart would be at the 20 SMA would be the 50 SMA on a 5-minute chart, right? So support levels are a little bit different depending on the time frame that you're playing and the length of time you want to hold the trade. Like if you're a scalper, you don't really care what the 15-minute chart is doing. You're more concerned about the 1 minute, the 2 minute, the 3 minute, whatever, right? I mean, it doesn't really matter what the bigger time frames are doing if you're looking to scalp in and out. Now, if you're just a pure trend trader, you should be buying every dip, right? Or you should be actively holding from earlier in the day. But so far, bulls are doing a hell of a job today. Hell of a job. Third consecutive green day higher on the daily chart. Just not bad. Which you can definitely see that this area is going to give us a little bit of problems. I actually wouldn't even mind seeing the market go sideways for the next couple of days. Maybe pull back, put in an inside bar day tomorrow. Next week, kind of push up to the high side and then like really break through this week's highs over this 50 SMA. And here's another for all options traders or guys who trade stocks, any close above the 50-day moving average becomes risk on again, right? So you can see the last time we closed over the 50-day moving average going back to the beginning of October, we had a 3-day, 4-day run up from a price of 209 all the way into 474. That's going to provide fantastic opportunity on the stock part of things, right? Like depending on what stocks you're trading in the NASDAQ 100, that's definitely going to be an area for you to kind of want to put that risk back on a little bit. Notice when we lost the 50 SMA on a daily time frame, drastic decline. So that's the kind of macro levels that you need to be looking at, is where are we at on that daily chart? Are we over or below the 50-day moving average? If we're coming off of a significant demand zone on the daily chart, we can always look for those dead cat bounces into the 20 and 50-day moving averages. Once we get there, you kind of want to put the brakes on, put it on pause just a little bit longer until we can close over that 50-day moving average. For me personally, I think that the market, it's going to be a magnet into this 50 SMA. It'll be a magnet into that area. I just don't see us stopping here. Right? I don't see us stopping here. At least test this area once and see how strong the buyers really are. This is a hell of a fucking dead cat bounce on Tesla. Me and some of the guys in the room had Tesla on a swing position from the beginning of this week. I sold out this morning, probably way too early to be honest. But we're trading up 216.80s. We were as high as 218, 220s. Beautiful move there. AMD kind of pulling back just a little bit here. Maybe AMD still has room for a little bit of a pullback, right? 107s has room into like 106s, and then anything over 108.30s definitely has room to keep going higher. I'm just going to keep taking a walk around the club and seeing exactly what everything else is doing. Meta's pulling back today. Meta hasn't even really had an uptick. I wonder if there's any news on that. Why this thing hasn't caught a bid today. That thing looks like shit. Apple holding the top of its range here, getting ready to test the previous hour's high. Over 177.30s, has room to like 177.40s. Apple over 177.40s definitely looks like it can continue. It's been on a hell of a 2-day bounce. I would like to see a pullback on Apple, probably to like 174s, 175s. If we can get that and the market's going to continue to be strong, I think that would be a hell of a spot to take Apple for a little bit of a bounce if it gets down there. If it never gets down there, it never gets down there. It is what it is, but Google had a little bit of a pullback all day today. That's why maybe we can see it. There's a little bit of a disconnect, right? So the stocks that were pretty strong today in the NASDAQ, stocks that were pretty strong today are kind of going sideways and pulling back. And the stocks that didn't really catch a bid, for example, Google's been going down for 4 straight hours. Google's bouncing, right? So a little bit of a rotation coming here. A little bit of a rotation from some of the names that are super green on the day to some of the names that are, break even, flat, or a little bit red. Something to kind of keep in mind. Keep that kind of shit in mind. You got to know that kind of stuff, right? We look at the triple Qs continuing to push higher here. Nice little 1 hour candle breakout here from 362s into the 363s. SPY pushing higher as well off this 5-day moving average. So the SPY has definitely been a long all day. If you notice the SPY on the 1 hour view, it's essentially took out the pre-market highs at 427, trading at basically 430, and it's pushing higher, right? So the SPY has been an absolute fucking monster today. This thing hasn't even lost its 5-day moving average on a 1 hour time frame. It just comes down, puts in a new high, comes down, puts in a new high, consolidates here going into lunch hour, right? You can see consolidates, and then coming out of lunch, boom, new highs. So SPY is really, really strong. SPY is super strong today. NVIDIA is taking out previous hour's highs. Again, NASDAQ continues to pull into its 5-day moving average on a 5-minute time frame and bounce. Pulls into the 5-day and bounces. Pulls into the 5-day and bounces. Current high is 989. It breaks that. It's going to put in a new high. Come back down to the 5 SMA. Bounce. There will be a topping out period. Again, if someone who's looking to catch that kind of top, it's a little bit of a dangerous trade. Again, I would go small size on something like that. Everything else right now is just essentially, it's just been a buy long and hold. Depends on where you were playing at, right? I mean, if you're just barely starting to look at the charts now, you need a pullback so you can get that decent bounce. If you've been watching the markets and you've been trading the markets, like I just got back, I went to get a coffee. I came back. As soon as I came back in, we were at a particular high, which I was trying to short to get it to come down a little bit here. Again, playing super small size. But if I was watching the charts, right? If like based on my system, I don't know how many how many videos of mine you guys have actually watched, but I'm always looking for short-term change in trends over the 20 SMA. So the last setup that we got triggered was at 935, right? 935. If I was sitting my ass in front of the computer screen at 935, then I would have been long somewhere in the 60s, right? Somewhere in the 60s, and we went to 89, so almost a 30-point move higher. That's the move. But I was barely sitting down starting this fucking stream at that time, so... Also, guys, if you guys are looking for these little scalps, look for some of these like 3 to 4 candle pullbacks that pull into support and then break that trend line, right? So we put in this high, we've pulled back 1 candle, 2 candles. If we pull back another candle and we pull into this 10 and then it starts to bounce and break this trend line, that would be your long position, right, for a scalp. If we pull up like a smaller time frame, let's kind of take a look at what the 2-minute chart is doing with that same trend line on there. So try to make this a little bit bigger. That, right? So look for that break on something like that and see kind of how that does. You do have the Bollinger Bands getting tighter, right? So this is a 2-minute view we're looking at. The Bollinger Bands are getting tighter. If we do break this trend line, we might put in that new high, then consolidate, pull back, back test this trend line that's here, and then continue to push higher. So kind of keep an eye on that if you are a little bit of a scalper, right? Keep an eye on this break here. It's testing now. You want to see what this does. These Bollinger Bands are going to get tight here. Maybe within the next, I don't know, 5 to 10 minutes, I would expect these Bollinger Bands to get extremely tight. Whichever side it does break out to, that's where you're going to get a little bit of your follow-through move. Bollinger Bands are starting to open up a little bit here. So there's that break over that 2-minute, 5-minute trend line here to the upside. We've got that Bollinger Band sitting up there in the 90s. Not a whole lot, right? I mean, popped 3 or 4 handles, nothing too crazy. Nothing too crazy. First move was a little bit of a rejection spot there. Back under that trend line now. So we popped it, got rejected at that Bollinger Band, starting to pull back a little bit here. This downwards trend line's been acting as resistance since around 10:30 my time. Pacific Standard. Once we can close over that, and then when we do pull back, we start to hold it. That's the move you would kind of be looking for, a little bit of a break, retest, hold, and then push out of that. New highs at 990 on the NQ. We got the Bollinger Band sitting up there at around 15,000, guys. 15,000 could be that spot that it wants to gravitate towards. Nice big whole round number. That's a number that you're going to want to kind of really look for. We did break out of that little 2-minute downtrend here. Broke out of it on the previous 5-minute candle, kind of putting that initial high to the 90s, punched up to the 93s. So again, the original entry on that was somewhere in the 85s. I'd like to see what it does around that 15,000. 15,000 mark seems like a good level for it to kind of gravitate in towards. It's pretty close, 1566 on the daily chart is our 50 SMA. 1566. Just remember that number. 1566. It's almost time for lunch, guys. Fucking starving. There's that test of the 15,000, guys. 1499. 14,999.
Watching a lot of football. Uh, me my alma mater here.
Yes. Yes.
That's the one, unfortunately. But, get through it, Jack.
You didn't want to answer that. That was a question specifically meant for Grace, but
Yeah, I felt targeted as you put that on the screen there.
attack. I'm just hoping that it blows up so that Jim Harbaugh can be the coach for the Bears.
I think it's still a possibility.
Script. As soon as he sat down, guy who had script came up to him and said, "Here's a written copy of it," whatever, handed up, and he said immediately,
So we've pulled back to that trend line, guys. We pulled right back into that trend line, bounced right off. So I don't know if anyone did take the long position there. We broke the trend line. We closed above it, put in those new highs closer to that 15,000, pulled right back into it on this 5-minute candle. If this 5-minute candle can hold here, we could potentially see a run up anything over 15,000. That next supply zone on the daily time frame is 15,060s. So I don't know. I mean, we got 2 hours left of the market. We're up 250 points, up 1.69%. Shit, does it want to go? I don't know. Does it want to pull back? We'll see, right? I mean, any type of pullback that you would be looking for would be into the 80s and then down here into the 68s. I don't know. I don't think it would have to lose the 68s before we see any type of, some strong technical damage coming in from the sellers. Seems like the sellers are continuing to get kind of trapped, right? You get some sellers that start shorting, they pull it back into support, they get those stops run, we put in that new high, we pull back in again, they start to load up, they get stopped out. It's been kind of doing the same song and dance going back to the lunch hour here at 9 a.m. So for about 2 hours, you can see once we really broke out of this, right, towards the end of the New York lunch hour, we broke out of that, we pulled back right into support, we popped those sellers, they got trapped, we pulled right back into support again, popped those sellers, pulled right back into support again, popped those sellers. So, where it's been doing the same type of move, 2 candle pullback, pop, 2 candle pullback, pop, 3 candle pullback, pop. And that's one thing that you kind of have to kind of look at. Again, I kind of take note in these candlesticks, right? The one that formed on the previous 5-minute. Look at every time we kind of pull back, you get one of these bullshit candlesticks, right? A little bit of an indecision candlestick. Off of a new high, pulls back, indecision candlestick, off of a high, pulls back, right? So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. I mean, again, the market, has been essentially grinding higher all day since the initial opening range kind of flush. Doesn't mean that we have to have some significant pullback, or it doesn't mean that we can't just continue to grind higher. A little bit of a trickier spot now to try to kind of pick your moves, just due to the fact that it's later in the day. Seems like the NASDAQ and the bulls have done a fantastic job today to the long side, and the sellers are kind of getting trapped on every pullback off the high. So when you get into those type of situations, it becomes a little bit more dangerous to try to go long even, right? Because you could be caught in one of these 5-minute candle pullbacks, or it comes a little bit rough to try to short, because anytime it does look like it wants to start losing some of these supports that we've been holding on a small time frame, the bulls immediately step back in and they buy it back up. So far we're holding that trend line here. We're still holding the 5 and 10-day moving average. So technically, if we're looking at it from like a power trend perspective, we've been power trending to the long side since 9:35, putting in new highs, right? New high, new high, new high, new high. Now we're getting a little bit of this pullback, but the pullbacks are all getting bought up, so be careful. I don't even see this uptrend being broken until we close below the 20 SMA on a 5-minute time frame. Just keep buying the dips.
Something that basically quarterbacks had to do. It's not only they take a snap, nor the best athlete on the field as well at one particular point. So they were all punters. And it's nice to take a trip down memory lane here. There's flag football games. It's exciting. Yeah, you got the ball back. There's two high school girl flag football teams competing at halftime. They came out time to smoke. So, whole entrance. Yeah, it was sweet. It was sweet. I think there was one girl 24. She was first rebound.
$15,000. 15,000. Let's draw. Let's take all this. Let's take my stuff off the chart. Let's kind of draw our own supply and demand zones. Let's kind of see here. We're going to start off with the hourly view. I'm going to kind of see. We're going to go back. We're going to go back. Let's go back. What's today? Thursday? Let's go back to last Friday. We're going to take the last 5 days. Friday. We're going to draw our clear demand zone down here at the bottom on these lows. That range is huge. It's a 100-point range. This area, I guess we can say that it was tested, right? Here. Very short-lived on Wednesday when we kind of broke through this area here. 14,560s was broken through. We briefly pulled back for a couple of hours before shooting up again. It's basically been a runaway train since Wednesday, right? So we came off this floor. This floor we were holding, going all the way back to last Friday. We were kind of holding this floor. And then we kind of broke through, put in a new high. It's been a runaway train for the past 2 days. I'm gonna take this crap off. So basically, even if I don't draw that on, right, and I just kind of look at this basic standard chart here, this bottom linear regression was kind of tested for multiple days last week. Friday, we were below it. We got back into it, tested it once, tested it twice down here at the bottom of the range, pushed up to the top of the range. Once we really broke through, we went from this linear regression over the 20 and the 200 on the hourly view and really just punched higher into the top linear regression. We haven't really come back down to back test it. It was like 40 points off here in the overnight pre-market. It's essentially just been a runaway train. Good strong move from the bulls. I think the market needed this. I think people in general needed this, right? We needed this last couple of days. Gives you that feel good feeling again, right? I mean, I feel like it's been tough for a lot of traders lately, just with the chop, with the downwards moves, with not knowing how to really play it on a day in and day out basis. Pulling back into the 20 SMA here again, right? So this is the first time that the 20 SMA has been really tested, going all the way back to 10 a.m. Again, Pacific Standard Time. So 10 a.m. was the last time we tested this 20 SMA. We had that nice bounce. Coming back into the 20 SMA again. Do we get the bounce, or do we get a little bit of an end of day sell-off? If we get an end of day sell-off, the level that you want to be watching for is the 920s area. Again, that's way down there. That's way down there at this point in time. Again, we could just continue to do this, come back down. Again, what are we looking for? Those 3 candle, 4 candle pullbacks, 2 to 4 candle pullbacks into support, then take the bounce off of it. It's been doing that for the past hour to 2 hours, right? We pull into support, we go off. We pull into support, we go off, right? Day's trend is up. So if you take like the bottom wick here and you kind of just draw like a fucking trend line like this, right? People like to do all kinds of crazy shit like this, right? Trend is higher. So since the initial sell-off off the open, we found support, we bounced. We found support, we bounced. Are we going to find support again and bounce? That's how you basically analyze what's going on here in the charts, right? You analyze it, and then you ask yourself the question, how much risk do I want to put on the table? Is the trade worth it for me? Am I green on the day, right? These are all questions that need to go through your head in real time. So, you know, if you're green on the day, why are you still trading, right? That's my question to you. Why are you still looking for trades? Is it because maybe you're trading another account that you didn't trade on? But if you're green in one particular account, I would protect those gains this late in the day. Now, for me, I haven't touched any options since the first hour to hour and a half, 2 hours of the market. That you guys, if you guys already know me, you guys know that I'm a full-time options trader. That's where my bread and butter is at. I just kind of fuck around on the futures when I'm done with my options to keep my mind preoccupied. And then I have a couple of eval accounts with some of these prop firms, and I have one funded account with Top Step. So I'll mess around in between those 3 to 4 accounts. And depending on if one of them is green or one of them is red, or I haven't taken a trade on it, is dependent on if I am ready to take a trade. Now, the account that I'm working on today is this Top Step account, you know, down a little bit on it, but I'm green on my Apex accounts. So I'm probably not going to trade any more Apex, obviously, because I want to protect those gains. I'm going to come over to the account where it's down a little bit and small, right? I'm down minuscule on this account today. So it's not too, you know, it's not like we're trying to win back some crazy amount of loss or anything like that. And if I do end the day red on it, there's always another day tomorrow, right? So that's kind of how you have to look at your accounts like that. You have to look at your trading like that. Like, do you still need to trade the current account that you're on? Or should you probably stop trading on the day because you're slightly red and you don't want to turn a small red into a big red? Or you're green on the day where all you're looking to do is just stack days. Again, guys, remember, it's just about stacking small days. Like, that's all it is, right? Those big days, they just come naturally. It's not like you have to really do anything, right? The big days just come. Again, here we are into that 3 candle pullback off the 20 SMA, getting a little bit of a bounce. 3 candle pullback, a little bit of a bounce. So if someone's looking to take a short position, if we lose this uptrend, is that maybe potentially worth taking a little bit of a short just on a late end of day intraday pullback, right? We're not looking for it to come all the way down to the day's lows. That's not what we're looking for. But if we break the uptrend, maybe is there a little room for a scalp? Maybe, right? Maybe. If you're looking to continue to go long, well, then your bounce should have came off of this 20 SMA, right? Because it's proven over the last hour to hour and a half. But it's anytime we get semi close to this 20 SMA, we bounce off this uptrend. And this uptrend has been holding since 7 o'clock in the morning. You know, 7 o'clock in the morning, it's just been fucking slow grind higher.
Shocked. Are you trying to get shocked? What are you in? Are you in the guy we're about to introduce in the middle of a 15 contest? What is the goal? Bobby is like
Boom, boom, boom. Price action is definitely drying up, guys. I feel like the moves are getting smaller and smaller, and I think the next level is at 15,000, right? That 15,000 psychological level could shoot, right? That could be like the end of day, like kind of exhaustion. Through 15,000, just boom, one more exhaustion move to the high side, and then kind of just trickle into the close, right? Just like kind of go sideways into the close. Right now, the bulls are still doing a fantastic job. They're still working higher. They're still working higher. I think over 15,000, definitely shorts are going to get very, very shorts over 15,000 are going to be in trouble, right? Even with us being up 250 on the day on the NASDAQ, right? I think shorts are definitely going to get triggered over that $15,000 psych level, just because anytime you break those whole numbers, anytime, right? Just look at the whole numbers, what we normally do around the whole numbers. There's generally some good price action around that. You got a lot of buys and sells sitting around whole numbers. So, and again, just based on the daily chart, over 15,000 has room into the 60s. So could we just fucking squeeze over 15,000 into the 60s to kind of end the day and then pull back down, right? Pull back down into this range to kind of close the day? That would be perfect. And that's still bullish for the bulls going into tomorrow for a little bit of a continuation over that 50-day moving average. Again, risk goes back on over the 50-day moving average, guys, for the bulls. So that's going to be a big pivotal spot around that 1560s. 1560s is going to be a huge spot that needs to be watched going forward. That's going to really be the telling sign going forward, right, into next week, into the week after. What do we do around that 50-day moving average? I think being this close to the daily 50-day moving average needs to at least get tested, right? Whether it's today, whether it's tomorrow, whether it's early next week, it has to get tested to see what is the sentiment around that 50-day moving average. Was this just a 3-4 day dead cat bounce that's going to get rejected to come back down? Or are the bulls going to actually grab their set and let's go on a little bit of a fourth quarter rally, right? So that's what you kind of want to see. I would prefer a little bit of a fourth quarter rally because realistically, we've been going down for 3 months, right? So if you kind of go to the daily chart, right? And if we just look at the daily chart and just kind of zoom out a little bit, look at the highs that we've kind of put in, right? 16,000 going all the way back to July. And then our next highs was, the end of July. And then we had these highs in September. And then we had these highs in the beginning of October. So if you were to just kind of draw a trend line just for the sake of drawing a trend line to use for your eyes, you can kind of say that around this area here, right? Around this area here, in those mid 15,000s is definitely going to be that big spot. Are the bulls going to get on a fucking nice fourth quarter rally to kind of cap off 2023? Or are we just going to kind of trickle higher here, put in a lower high, because that's all we've been doing? Lower high here, lower high here, lower high here. This rally coming off the floor from the 27th, guys, we're on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 day rally here. So 5-day rally to the top side. I can see us trickling into the 15,050s, 15,100s, putting in a lower high somewhere around this area and then rolling back over. That's not what you want to see, though, if you're a bull. We do not want to see that. We want to see us go sideways for a little bit, and then we want to really break through this level. We break through this level, bulls are going to be on a nice little showcase here going into 2024. Again, this is looking at the daily view, but spend lower highs the last 3 months for sure. The last 3 months we've just been going down. So it would be nice to kind of get going a little bit, especially that, by the time this is all said and done, depending on how long we can hold up in this region, this 200-day moving average is going to continue to inch closer. So it's going to look like, if we hold up here, that we came down and we tested the 200. Preferably, it was in this time. I would have liked to just test it now. Like I would have liked to tested it last week, because if we would have tested that 200-day moving average last week, I would have been so confident that we're going to fucking shoot through here. But being that we never really touched it, if we do start to lose any steam in the coming weeks, fuck, you know where we're going, right? You know where we're going to go back down to. So Oh. Pushing up towards that 15,000, guys. That's going to be that level we need to see. Do the bulls give us a nice spike over this 15,000 to kind of end the day here? Or is there some sellers that are going to push us through this 20 SMA to kind of break the uptrend that we've kind of been on? That's the only thing that you're kind of looking for right now. Those are the only two possibilities that are going to happen. You know, it sounds fucking cliche. Yeah, we're going to go up or down. No shit. But if you break the 20 SMA uptrend that we've been on here for the past 2 hours, you're going to get a nice little yank, right? You'll get that nice little yank. It's not coming down to the day's lows or no shit like that, but you'll get a nice little yank. If we do get the break over the 15,000, we could get that final push higher into the close and then kind of just go sideways to kind of round it off. And then that's going to be a hell of a day for the bulls, right? That's what you're going to want to see. So definitely those two things is what you're going to want to keep your eyes on going forward into the close here, is those two levels. And right now it's around 980 to the downside or the 15,000. So we're playing within a little bit of a 20-point range here. If I was to draw these, you know, little price level lines to kind of show you guys what the fuck I'm talking about. Look at this low wick at 1110 PST right off the 20 SMA. If I just drag my fucking cursor to the left-hand side, look at the last highs that we had here, those recent highs that we got stopped out at 805. I'm going to draw a price level line there, right? So if we draw this price level line here, look at where this is kind of matching up with this low wick that we recently had, with this 20 SMA. This is the range that we're playing in. We break to the high side, we're going to get a little bit of a squeeze because everyone who's trying to short these tops is going to get their fucking shorts ripped off of them, right? And then if we do break down below here, it's going to get some of these buyers who have been holding profits out of their trades as well. So that's what I'm looking for going into the close, guys. I'll kind of recap you guys. I got to go get something to eat real quick downstairs, but I'm definitely going to be around here. If any of you guys have any questions, want to join Discord, that link's down in the description box below. We do live trading each and every single morning. I put out my watch list. We trade options as well as futures over there. What else? We do one-on-one coaching calls and this, that, and the other to go over mindset, trading plans, all of that kind of good shit, right? Again, it's all about trying to keep the lights on. That's what you want to do. You guys don't want to ever get blown out in one singular day. You want to stick around for tomorrow, because tomorrow could always be better than today. You know, so again, if you found yourself in a little bit of trouble today, it's all right. As long as you got some darts to kind of throw tomorrow, we're still in the fucking game, right? So, and if you're up on the day, don't give away any fucking profits, guys. Don't do stupid shit like that. Like, if you guys are green right now, just fucking turn your computer screens off, go do something else, right, for a little bit, or trade another account. Like, don't trade the same account that you're already green on. But I'll catch you guys all in the next one.